Good morning, Raymond.
Good morning.
Hi, Enima.
Good morning.
Enima, I've missed you.
I've missed you too.
Yeah,
it's good to be back. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Akava.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Have I been seeing all over the place? What's that missing?
I've missed her on News TV. Raymond, what is this jealousy?
But it's your missing.
All right.
It's your
It's your
missing.
really.
Hey.
Okay, front pages.
Okay, I'm going to start with the graphic showbiz this morning. And Modest Fashion Week makes debut on Saturday. Celebration of His Grace is on Sunday. Money, not long talk. That's according to Kweku Menu on reviving the Ghana movie industry. And Nanekia Ado is saying what she spends on money is nobody's business. And she's been trending the whole week with that gown with birds and feathers.
Yeah, the one
and
with
all
the...
of that. Yeah.
Is she carrying birds on her shoulders
Please,
or something?
I'll give you her number.
The Chronicle is reporting this morning before confirmation of Takoradi girl's death how informants sent police on a wild goose chase. There's one about stop crucifying Mami Tiwa, and this is purportedly coming from the family of the Takoradi girls. And also on the front page of the Chronicle, AG got it wrong on payment to Crowell and Associates upon Kroma, and this AG is the Auditor General of the Republic of Ghana, Daniel Domilevo.
On the front page of the Daily Guide, the Takoradi girls still trending as their families disclose DNA report. Second suspect in Otumfuo's chief murder has been detained. 5 Yemenis arrested over breaches. The PPA boss wants a public hearing and don't discourage education. That's according to the Minister of Education. And finally, Okankwe South MP outdoors self-made road machine.
The Business Finder is reporting this morning 20 firms make losses on GSE, that's the Ghana Stock Exchange. There is one about market capitalization dropping by 4.7%. And the other one, inflation drops to 7.8% after rebasing. And that's on the front page of the Business Finder. But if you removed the after rebasing, it would have been very good news.
Okay, on the front page of the Daily Statesman, Otumfuo was right about Mahama, says Legon Don. Ayasu West Wagon reports gazetted, give power to the grassroots. Ochehene champions true decentralization. And that's the Daily Statesman.
The New Crusading Guide is reporting this morning Ghana's economy grows by 5.7% in second quarter of 2019. I'll give you details of that later on. And Free Zone's boss is clean. Staff commend him for transforming Free Zones Authority. Mostly when they start saying it's clean, then boom! Some exposes the real deal.
So let's wait for the expose to expose it.
Anyway.
On the back page of the Daily Graphic, locals take over Koforidua affordable housing. Apparently it's been abandoned for 10 years. 2 University of Education Winneba campuses merge into new university. That's the National University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, reports flawed. Government punches holes in Auditor General's findings. Voters register exhibition extension fails to improve patronage, and families are free to seek second opinion on DNA results.
Now, the very last paper before me this morning is the Ghanaian Times, and it's reporting this morning in the last 4 years, 11,400 people died in this West African sub-region alone from terrorism and its related acts.
How many people again?
11,400 people in the West African sub-region of almost 300 million people, and this is just 4 years. Terrorism. Just terrorism, nothing else.
So if it's 11,000 in the past 4 years,
Yes.
that's more than the number of people who have died from road accidents in Ghana.
Yes.
Which should be about 8,000.
That's true.
8,000. Speaking of road accidents anymore.
Yes, Daniel, very sad story. So yesterday, 3 people died when 2 vehicles collided head-on the Yape Bridge. So what happened was that there was a saloon car and a tipper truck, and they were coming from opposite directions, and they crashed head-on at about 3:30 p.m. As soon as they crashed head-on, the cars burst into flames. And the 3 people in the saloon car were burnt beyond recognition. The driver of the tipper truck, though, he's alive because when he saw the saloon car coming and he looked at the situation, he figured it couldn't be saved, so he jumped out of his truck, and so he survived. The police is not giving any more information on that, but our condolences go out to the families.
Again, our condolences go out to them, and these are mainly preventable. I mean, if we could apply the engineering and the education and the enforcement of the laws, of course, we could definitely see a reduction in these numbers. But the baby thief has been jailed.
Yes, and her name is Mercy Sam. What happened was that the baby belongs to a different woman, and this is a 2-week-old baby. What the mother and the father mostly would like the grandmother to be the one bathing the baby, so they'll take it to the grandmother virtually every morning and in the evenings too. One of these days, they took the child to the grandmother. What happened was that the grandmother was not there. So somebody lives in the same house with the grandmother. They handed over the child to that particular gentleman so that the mother herself can take a bath. When she's done, then maybe she'll try and deal with the baby's problem too.
Okay.
Now, when she gave it to the gentleman, another woman came, this is Mercy Sam, to say that the mother has sent her to come and pick up the baby. And the gentleman refused because he knew where the mother was. He actually was able to convince the gentleman that, oh no, it's not the mother, it's the father. And that the mother will not be ready now, so the baby ought to be fed, so she can do that. Now, she took the baby to another woman, and yet claimed that the father had come for the baby. So it was a huge brawl. They were fighting over the matter, and the matter was finally reported to the police. So the baby went missing for several hours. I mean, back and forth. The woman insisted that the father said he had not even been to that part of town. No, this happened at Dansoman. He had not been to Dansoman. He's been a colleague on all through, and that it was not possible. But the woman insisted that, in fact, she held her own allegations of having a relationship with the father in this case, which proved true at the end of the day. So she seemed to have had the best sequence of events in all of this. And going forward, what then happened was that the police was asked to do the investigation. Luckily for them, the woman that the Mercy handed over this baby to, that woman also brought the baby to Mercy in the evening.
Okay.
So others saw some woman sneak into the Mercy's house with the baby. Then they actually called the police to follow up. Then they finally realized that this 2-week-old baby had been in the custody of Mercy and her friend for some time. Mercy was put before court, and this happened in September. And the beginning of September, just the first week of September. And in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks' time, the matter has been dealt with. She pleaded guilty. She said she had promised her boyfriend that she was going to get a baby because she purportedly got pregnant for like 8 or 7 months ago and was supposed to deliver around September 7th. So this would have been a very wonderful coincidence for her to produce a baby in this particular
So to show her boyfriend that she
she actually got pregnant. And the pressures for people to get pregnant are very high.
That's exactly what I was
And this is an interesting society. The society will ask you to get married. Oh, after getting married, they'll ask you when are you giving birth, and they'll not contribute a person to taking care of the child.
No.
Yes,
they won't contribute to your wedding. And they'll tell you to get married.
When you give birth to the first child, and it is, if you are okay, if you get a female, they say, oh, where is the male child?
Exactly.
Yes, then you'll be striving for male child. If you are unlucky like some people, you do like 4 before you get a male child.
It's like when you live in our society, we keep shifting the goalpost for happiness.
Yeah, no, actually for the standards that they want you to actually deliver on. So this kind of pressure is one of those that Mercy Sam have to go through to produce a baby. Now, she's been jailed 7 good years. And I felt that was on the harsh side, but come to think of the fact that a family was going to be deprived of their baby, and her intention was to keep the baby forever, not to actually make it look like she will actually return the baby sometime in the future. So baby stealing could cost you 7 years in jail. They found the baby, but still, she's still going to spend 7 years in jail.
Of course, this does not in any way justify what she does, but anyway, we must seriously talk about how society legitimizes women when they have babies or have children.
It's not even just that. It kind of starts from marriage, though, doesn't it? And a friend of mine posted on Facebook yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that a woman's value sometimes is associated with whether she's married or not, whether she has children or not.
Exactly.
But what's even sadder is that a lot of Ghanaian women have been socialized to believe that.
Yeah, but it's not their fault. It's the society that has kept telling them from generation through generation.
So but hopefully we're slowly moving away from that. Also, basically, because realistically, not every woman will get married. When you look at the ratio of men to women, I mean, realistically, it will not happen for every woman.
If we use other religious plans, we could get every woman.
I mean, of course, if you're interested in polygamy, perhaps something that Raymond has been fighting for. Good luck to him.
Raymond, you want to marry again?
The propaganda.
No,
that
I'm
she's
okay, but you want to marry
alleging
again.
that.
So this is here. You can
Not
clear
at
it up.
all.
You will say the truth. You will say the truth.
Well, let's go to Takoradi, which has been shaken after the IGP James Opombuenu made that statement.
Well,
earlier
yes,
this week.
he has said that the police administration will not object to an independent DNA test on the skeletal remains found in the cesspit in Takoradi. So, the three families of three of the girls, Ruth Abeka, Priscilla Bentum, and Ruth Lavquason, they have rejected the DNA test. They don't want to believe that those are their daughters. They believe that the police and the national security have done a shoddy job and are demanding an independent DNA test to ascertain the veracity of the police claim. However, the family of the fourth victim, Priscilla Crunchy, they have accepted the results of the DNA test, and they have said that they would wait for further details. And so it doesn't really look like it's ending.
You know, with the fourth family, they didn't accept it entirely. They said that they have to because they don't have any money to conduct an independent test.
DNA, okay.
And then the brother told us that if anyone wants to support them financially to carry out the test, then they would indeed do a second DNA test. So it's sort of like marriage of convenience, if I can use that expression. But Raymond, 21 CSOs have also made a marriage of convenience.
In this particular case, you remember that in the works towards the contract for sale documentary, Manasseh wrote to the Public Procurement Authority Board demanding all of the so-called sole sourced and restricted tendering savings that we've made, if you recall, from 800 million to 1.2, 1.8. Now we're talking about 2.7 billion. And the executive president of the Republic of Ghana, even when he spoke to the Ghana Bar Association, and let's not forget, in previous State of the Nation addresses too, one of the major things that this government has said by way of cutting down corruption and improving on the savings for the nation is the Public Procurement Authority and its procurement savings. Now, all of these civil society institutions are demanding further and better particulars. They are insisting that the period where, and we've been saying this for a very long time, the period where you just come and say that we have made savings, and yet you don't tell us where you made the savings, which particular transactions are involved, and yet you have a website that has some source restricted tendering processes ongoing are over. Give us the details now. That's why they've written to the finance ministry for all of these contracts. What was the original bid and how much was cut down after the public procurement work? So for us to be able to independently verify that indeed savings have been made in this case.
I'm very curious to hear what the response will be.
Hopefully, the only response we want from the finance ministry is that we are an open and transparent government. This is the list. Not the kind of defense that the Public Procurement Authority Board gave to Manasseh that it was. Public was deemed to be as if some secrets in a certain traditional shrine that ought not to be.
Mischievous young man. Okay. Healthcare providers have been advised anymore.
So the quality improvements manager at Kolebu, Mr. Elom Hillary, has been talking about unethical practices that go on in the healthcare system. And he was talking about things like giving injection without clean hands, medication errors, exhibiting lack of compassion and love for patients, and condoning of ill practices of colleagues. He talks about the fact that some patients leave the health centers with more problems than they go into the hospitals with. But I picked this story, Daniel, because I actually want to focus on personal responsibility when it comes to going to the hospital. So I think that it's important that when you're going to the hospital, you're researched up, you're well prepared, you're asking a lot of questions. In some hospitals in Ghana, we don't really have the culture of asking questions. I remember a few days ago, I said to a friend of mine who wasn't too well, he had gone to the hospital, what did the doctor say? Oh, he didn't say anything. What medicine did he give you? I'm taking the medicines. What are the names of the medicines? Oh, I don't know. He just gave them to me. So what was the diagnosis? He said if I take the medicines, I'll be fine. And it's not something I've heard from one person.
Still not over. That's still over in this country.
No.
The times where we've had health professionals act like they are military officers, obey before complain.
Yes.
I thought that it was over.
No, it's not.
And
it's actually not. And also, it runs down to nurses and other healthcare providers. So my thing is that we can't force the healthcare providers to be more emotionally intelligent, as Mr. Elom Hillary is asking them to be. But it's up to us to make sure that we are well informed, that we ask questions.
No, but let me make this point clear.
Make this point clear.
If they see you as a client who delivers customer service to a grouping and refuses to answer their question.
But do
on the
we
kind of
want to
service-
talk about customer service in Ghana?
No. I'm talking about only the hospitals in this case.
Okay.
So it cannot make sense to anybody that I come to you for a service. You are delivering a service to me. You cannot explain to me the service when you need my consent to do everything.
Yeah, but you see, and I've told this story on the morning show so many times about how I went to the hospital and I told the nurse I was allergic to what she was about to give me. And she insisted that Ghanaians, everything you're allergic to. So I want to give you medicine, you're allergic. And so she wasn't listening to me.
So wait,
Until
no. People are less allergic to things outside Ghana. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know, but that was what she said. I mean, and I also tell the story of this happened to me when I was in KNUS. I went to Konfanochi. I insisted to the doctor that I was allergic to Camuquin. He insisted that I wasn't. He gave me the Camuquin injection.
Check whether you're indeed
I
allergic.
sat outside his office until my eyes and my face got swollen, and I walked back into his office, and then he gave me intravenous hydrocortisone and apologized. And I said, you see, so if I had
medical negligence at
So
the highest level.
exactly.
You sat outside.
because I knew it was going to happen. But I was at that time I was
yeah.
about 17, so perhaps I didn't have the strength of character to fight with the doctor as I do now.
Guys,
but
you know
I
that,
needed to make a point.
17th was when? 17th was 2 days ago, so Tuesday. 17th was the world's
World
first
Patients
world's first patient
Safety Day.
Patient safety day.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
The world's first patient safety day.
Yes.
That happened 2 days ago. It's estimated that 134 million adverse events occur annually in hospitals in low and middle income countries, which includes yours truly, contributing to 2.6 million deaths in every year. So 2.6 million people die in
Just
every
from-
year
yeah.
from adverse events that happen. But you know what it means is that hospitals must also try and report when some of these adverse events happen so that we can be safer. The only problem is that some of the hospitals, because they are seen as commercial entities, it's not commercially viable to, report some.
Which
of
is
these
why
things.
personal responsibility, I think, is a big thing. I
Yes,
mean, can
yes,
you imagine
yes,
the
yes,
number of
yes.
times Raymond comes back with stories about he went to the hospital
remember
and
the
he went to
tramadol story?
question he went to question the doctor.
I have refused, changed, debated.
But before you come in, we go to the next story. Let me say
Yeah.
good morning to Dr. Joyce Jabate. Dr. Joyce Jabate of CNJ Hospital. CNJ Hospital in
Please, whilst we are saying
Accra.
good morning to doctors, can I say good morning to Dr. Elikem Tamaklo as well?
Oh, Dr. Elikem Tamaklo, any special reason?
No,
anyone?
just a good morning, since we're saying
All
good
right.
morning to doctors.
Yeah, but
Hey.
Dr. Jabate of CNJ Hospital, because they've signed up to the patient safety
Awesome. That's great stuff.
regulations.
That's
They're
great
the only hospital to have done that in Ghana. So
Awesome.
yeah, congrats to them. Right, so let's do inflation now.
Now,
7.8%.
Yeah, 7.8%. But we can't compare to the previous ones because this is based on the rebased one.
Okay.
Now, basically, what has happened is that the inflation basket has been widened from what used to be its previous content. So, for example, if previously we put in tomatoes, cassava and other things, we've added other things to it to reflect, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, the modern trends in consumption. Now, the other point is that the number of markets also surveyed, and they go to markets to go and ask of the prices, see the price changes and the difference over a period of time, and they report that particular one. So it has been increased from 42 to 44 markets to reflect the new CRS in this case. Now, it's an interesting development to note that food and non-alcoholic beverages contributed more than non-food inflation grouping. So the food part, which is 8.2%, was higher than the 7.4% for the non-food one. So averagely, the food part weighed in more than the non-food one. Now, where in the food elements were the rate of change a bit high? We're talking about fruits and nuts, that's 25.2%, cereals and cereal products, 10.6%, sugar, confectionery and dessert, 9%, and ready-made food and other food products, 8.3%. They were the major drivers of the
Okay.
food inflation. On the other side, alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics, 12% reflected, and transport, 10.2%. Water, electricity, housing, and gas also went in 9.9%, also higher than the average inflation in this case. There's a reason why people sometimes complain that, they say the inflation is within this range, but yet I've not seen the change in there. In the Greater Accra region, we are talking about 12.4%.
So we have a
So
higher
it is higher than the
average.
national average.
Okay.
Now, it is lowest in the Eastern region to 3.6%. in the eastern region. So the rate of the change of the prices in the eastern region is very low.
Yeah,
compared to
nice
happening
bread anyway.
You want to say before star?
I haven't said anything, Raymond. Raymond, did you know something?
Mm.
Let's move from the inflation subject and quickly touch on the 11,400 people who have died in 4 years over terrorism.
The number of people who have been displaced is way higher than that. It's almost 16 times higher than the number of people
16 times
displaced just because of terrorism alone.
That's like 160,000.
Yes, and
wow.
And almost 26,000 incidents injured. Specific human beings have been injured. Some of them have sustained very serious injuries, life irreparable situation injuries that will change your life and alter it completely, like losing limbs and all of that. Yes, that is how terrible the situation is. This the ECOWAS Commission is seeking to do something about. They have put together the anti-terrorism plan, which will make sure that countries within the sub-region coordinate better, but that's basically the best way to do it. You remember
better coordination.
Our quest for finding the kidnappers in the Nigerian case. We had to coordinate with Nigeria.
Exactly.
And if they indeed took them to Anambra and via road, the reasonable expectation will be that
they would have found them at the borders at a point. But maybe they didn't, because maybe that's
if
what
we heightened anti-terrorism plans, we would have been there.
So that's what we are doing on a national level. But on a personal level, if you see anything suspicious in your community, please say something.
Yeah.
Call the police toll-free number 18555. Hashtag, if you see something, say something. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and GOIL. Good energy. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from GOIL, your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. GOIL Super XP and Diesel XP are activated to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from GOIL's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy GOIL. Grow Ghana. GOIL, good energy. GOIL, Yenabra Yedia. Happy 14th anniversary to Zenith Bank Ghana Limited. It's been 14 years of innovation and service excellence. We at Zenith Bank immensely appreciate you, our cherished customers, for your continued custom support and loyalty over the years. It's been an honor serving you and making history together. Thanks for banking with us. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Cost of acquiring land, others preventing us from targeting vulnerable in housing needs. An expert is saying that this is ahead of, it's on myjoyonline.com. It's ahead of the Joy News Habitat Fair, which starts tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center at 8 a.m. StarFM.com has airport staff petition Akufo-Addo over privatization move, and CNN.com has 26 children die as fire breaks out in Liberia boarding school. The BBC.com has a fleeing Nigerian saying, I left South Africa without a P. He was fleeing from the xenophobic attacks. We'll be right back. Stay with us.